It can only be attributable to human error.
You're entering paranormal.
He meddled in things that you
Where will we go next? Just phantoms from another time.
No one but tomorrow.
That's it, man. Game over, man. Game over.
That is one big pile of shit.
Welcome to Cryptid Campfire, everybody.
Ooh.
This week we're talking about cryptids in Vietnam.
Yeah, let's do that intro a little bit. Hello, everybody.
I didn't like yours, apparently.
Well, because we have a whole to do.
Eli was doing the intro, and you just redid it.
Well, you do
the intro every
build
time.
up.
You do the intro every time. You need to leave all of this in.
Yeah, this is
I'm doing
the new intro. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Cryptid Campfire. My name is Alex Daikaiju. Across
shafted.
from me is...
Shafted, apparently. I've been shafted.
And to my left is...
It's Jasmine.
And we are... Cryptid
Cryptid
Campfire.
Campfire.
I don't know what we are anymore.
Yeah, Alex, you kind of just threw a wrench in the relationship.
What the heck? It's a new year, new you.
What? It's March.
Yeah, it's still the new year. Hi, everybody, and today we'll be doing something a little special.
Will we?
Huh?
Will we?
Yeah, we're gonna do our classic format of freeform jazz style. We all did independent research. We're all getting together, and we're talking about something very special today. Cryptids in Vietnam.
Okay. Okay.
Where do you guys want to start?
I think we should start with a little background on the war, in case anybody like me don't really know what was going on about that, because I had no idea that it lasted so long, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's like 13 years, right?
It's like 20.
Yeah, it's
Almost, yeah.
17.4 to even 19, considering like all the aftermath, if you consider it.
Yeah.
It's actually the second longest U.S. combat force participation in history.
Oh.
The first one is held by the Afghanistan War.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
So, the Vietnam War was from 1954 to 1975. Basically, it was the communist government of North Vietnam and its allies in South Vietnam. So, like, the two were separated, but there were people in the South who were still, like, supporting the North. And those people in the South were known as the Viet Cong. And it was those people versus the government of South Vietnam, so everyone else, and its principal ally, us, the United States.
U.S. sticking its nose where it don't belong.
We're like, hey, what's going on here?
Yeah, so North Vietnam, which had already defeated the French colonial administration of Vietnam in 1954, wanted to unify the entire country under a single communist government like the Soviet Union and China. The South Vietnamese government, on the other hand, fought to preserve a Vietnam more closely aligned with the West. 1969, more than 500,000 U.S. Alex.
What? I'm listening.
1969, more than 500,000 U.S. military personnel were stationed in Vietnam. These are just some numbers, so you kind of get an idea of how big it was.
It was really, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty wild.
It's the classic America versus Russia, and this time Vietnam is the playing ground.
Yeah, it's basically just a proxy war against Russia.
Yeah.
Because we're basically fighting communism.
And so was Korea, and just like...
Yeah.
The U.S. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, because I remember a little bit of Vietnam from school, but like I never was really that interested.
You were alive?
Yeah. I'm 67 years old. You know? Yep.
You didn't know?
You're
You're like, I fought Nam.
Yeah,
I was there.
Later, our own experiences in Vietnam. Yeah, it's crazy. I definitely kind of want to go back and actually look into more of the history. Because other than, popular culture's depiction of, like, people coming home from Vietnam, like, I don't know too much about the war itself.
Rambo.
Yeah, Rambo and Jacob's Ladder. But it's pretty wild.
Yeah, the U.S. were withdrawn by 73, and in 75, South Vietnam fell to a full-scale invasion by the North. Things got bad. Lots of people died.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy, too, is, so to us, it's the Vietnam War, and it's also known as the Second Indochina War. But in Vietnam, it's called the Resistance War Against America, or simply the American War.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That
That
sucks.
blew my mind. Just because you never think about it. You're like, oh, it's Vietnam War.
Yeah.
But in Vietnam, it's like the resistance war against America.
Yeah.
But to fast forward through all of that, the two countries finally resumed formal diplomatic relations in 1995.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we're at now.
That's
Chupacabra first appearance 1995. Coincidence?
Oh.
I think not.
species?
What
Is
even?
it just a retelling of the Vietnam War? That's crazy, because that's like 40 years after the war started. They
Yeah.
finally kind of ended. I mean, like, came to
Yeah.
a peaceful, I think, kind of uneasy peace,
Yeah.
maybe?
So that's just a very, very brief kind of, if you didn't know anything at all about the war,
Yeah.
now you know a little bit about it. But the main thing we're going to be talking about is the things that soldiers and people witnessed during this
Yeah.
span of like
Our
20
boys
years.
overseas.
'Cause-
They saw some weird stuff.
They did.
Imagine, but like, because this is all American soldiers'
Mm.
reports. Imagine like the stories that the Viet Cong had to tell.
Yeah.
Because
Well, that's what's crazy too. Is like a lot of this stuff that we're gonna get into is
Mhm.
like it's like, oh yeah, there's like a history to it, and they're all like, oh, it's a way of life.
yeah,
Like what?
yeah,
This is crazy talk.
they're living with these things,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
Yeah. So we went over to Vietnam to fight communism and came across a greater evil.
Mm-hmm. Now, what did you guys read anything about sea serpents?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because since we just gave a little overview about the war, I think it would be interesting to note that sea serpents or sea creatures of an unidentified species could possibly be responsible for the U.S.'s like main involvement in the war.
Mm-hmm.
what?
Did you not read about that?
I did not.
Okay, so-
is this Nazis? Is this Nazis?
This is
again,
not-
Chad?
this is not
Is
Nazis.
this Alexander
No.
wanting a Yeti?
Yeah. Oh.
So I read the article and did the research the best that I could, but there were like names and things that I didn't really know much about. But I think I got the gist of what's happening here. So basically, a Navy sonar engineer assigned to the destroyer, the USS Turner Joy.
What year is this again?
It will be. You would think that I would have written that down, but I think I might have omitted that from my notes. It was.
Okay, we'll continue with your story.
So basically this story comes secondhand from a guy who said he talked to a sonar engineer but doesn't remember his name.
Oh.
So there's no way to track it down.
Convenient.
I know. But this sonar engineer who was on the destroyer USS Turner Joy, which was one of the boats,
Turner and Hooch.
one of the boats in Tom Hanks?
Yeah.
Was one of the boats involved in the Gulf of Tonkin incident, which is a thing. If you Google that, that's like an important
Is that the one with the
thing.
sharks
I don't know.
that the captain in Jaws is talking about?
I
Oh,
have no idea. But anyways,
Maybe.
this person claims that strange shapes picked up on the Turner Joy sonar displays during the supposed attack. So basically, they're out on the water and they think they're getting attacked because they see these things on sonar.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't. They're the size of torpedoes, but they don't move like torpedoes. So the engineer was convinced that the military had been mistaken about the attack, and what they thought were torpedoes were actually like living things. And this was kind of even further like believed because they reported detecting more than 20 torpedoes on the sonar, and sailors claimed to have seen enemy cockpit lights and searchlights across the water. They also thought that they heard the sound of torpedo propellers over the hydrophones, and the crew reported spotting the wakes of 2 torpedoes 300 feet off their port side. But
Oh.
when the heat of the battle finally subsided, there were no enemy vessels accounted for. There wasn't anything destroyed. There wasn't anything fleeing. There was nothing.
But this is in the water, right?
This is in the water, yeah.
I mean, it's very possible it could have sunk.
True, but some stuff probably would have floated, and there would have been debris still floating around.
The
and
ocean's a crazy
you would have
place.
seen.
You could. I mean, I'm not saying. I'm just playing the other side.
Right,
here.
right,
Yeah.
sure. Very true. But basically, Secretary of Defense at that time chose aggression over caution, so he's the one who advised airstrikes against North Vietnam, and then that's when things got crazy. So, in relation to that, sea serpents.
Are the reason why we got into Vietnam?
Yes.
Whoa.
I don't know if I buy that.
but there's-
sure.
But there's
Yeah,
also
yeah.
stories of soldiers seeing them in the water.
Right.
I was gonna say there was a report. I have a name for this report. Craig Thompson.
Yeah. Can I say his
Yeah,
full
yeah.
title?
Yeah.
Okay, it's Craig Thompson. He was in Company B, 2nd Battalion of the 503rd Parachute Infantry Regiment, 173rd Airborne, 13th Brigade as a sergeant.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I didn't type all that, or
That's
that means nothing to me. That's a different language to me completely.
Are you sure? He was in Company B, first off.
I don't know what
Company
any of that means.
B-sides.
I'm so bad with military terminology and
Mm.
geography. It's really embarrassing when we get into the history of some of these cryptids, because I'm like, I don't know what any of this means, but
Well,
this
that-
is what the internet said.
Yeah. What
Right.
the heck? That's the new information superhighway.
Stupor Highway?
Yeah.
Stupor?
I guess he's also from. Did you get where he's from?
No.
Idaho.
Idaho.
Wow,
You
you set me up for that one. that was
You're so
rude.
dumb, dude.
I've been waiting all day so we could get to
Oh
talk to
my
this guy.
He's like, all right, I'm done.
End of the episode, everybody. Thank you. Good night.
He is from Idaho, though.
He is. Do you want to tell his story?
Sure, yeah. So, Craig Thompson, Sergeant Craig Thompson, him and his little platoon, they were bathing in the Bong Sun River. I'm not sure exactly where that's at in Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I know the geography of Vietnam. I'm just trying to sound cool, okay? Anyways, some soldiers, right, they're all bathing in the river, and some dudes, they're just like start rushing out of the river, and they're like pointing at this huge, enormous serpentine creature swimming in the water.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like 30 feet long, about 2 feet wide. It's got a huge square head, and it's covered in golden scales that reflected the sunlight.
Yeah.
And it also had a dorsal plume that stuck out from the surface. And
I had to Google what both dorsal and plume meant, okay, when I
Oh.
read this.
It's
For
basically
anyone who doesn't know, it's a feather-like fin on the upper part of the body.
Mhm.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
Heck yeah.
but it was dark
It
red
was
in
looking
color.
pretty.
It was gold and red.
Yeah.
So, well, I mean, the serpent was gold, but the plume, was red,
was red, yeah.
which kind of harkens up, like, they draw a lot of dragons that color,
Mm-hmm.
which is interesting.
Gold and red, especially.
I
Like
haven't-
it's crazy too, especially like Asian dragons, like in Chinese and
Mhm.
Japanese dragons are always kind of golden or reddish.
Hmm.
So it's interesting to see if maybe it was a dragon.
I'm sorry. I just glanced down at Alex's notebook, and he has written down USS Destroyer, Turner, and Hooch.
That's a good name. I'm gonna use that for something. That'll be my new Twitter handle.
Oh my god.
But yeah, basically, they don't know what it was,
Yeah.
but they think it could have been a big oarfish.
Well,
But tell us the buts.
the big butts.
It probably wasn't.
Because of what?
Oarfish, they breathe salt water, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a freshwater river.
Yeah.
And they're significantly smaller than what was claimed to have been
Dude,
seen.
you don't know. The ocean's crazy.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm saying that this
I just-
species of eel is
I
not
found
usually
out-
supposed to get this big. That's like saying, oh, I saw a cat the size of a house. Okay, maybe you did, but most cats aren't that size.
Okay, I just found out about giant manta rays, okay, with wingspans of up to 40 feet,
Mm-hmm.
which is insane.
The ocean's crazy. I don't
Yeah.
deny
I know
that.
it's insane. And like, I saw a picture of the dude swimming next to it. I was like, that's photoshopped. And I
Yeah.
looked it up, and it's real. And I was like, if I saw that, I would just pee my pants.
Well, you'd
Like-
be in the ocean, so it'd be okay.
And then it would start breathing it in. Okay.
That's crazy because.
But what are the other butts? Why is it not an
That's
oarfish?
really the only
It's
butt.
not as big.
But because they do have similar colors, and they do occasionally venture up rivers, and some species have that golden color, but they're much smaller than what was described. And oh yeah, there was another one. They don't have any sort of high dorsal crest.
Mm-hmm. They're
So.
usually pretty simple. I think oarfish are the ones.
Oh wait.
Oh. We have an update.
Okay. All right.
Eli has his hand on his chest.
Uh-oh.
Okay. So
Okay.
I looked it up. What's the record for the biggest one?
The biggest
The
oarfish.
biggest oarfish, and the biggest size recorded is 36 feet.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's the exact. Or wait.
And then, because the
It's-
guys reported seeing a 30-foot one,
30-foot
right? With
one.
two
So-
feet wide?
Yeah,
2 feet wide. But they say there's unofficial recordings of some being 56 feet in length.
Mhm.
So I think it's possible. It could be an oarfish.
Mm-hmm.
But then
Even
again,
so-
then it comes with the water because
Yeah.
it's not going to survive.
I mean, the thing too is it's like it could be an oarfish, or there could be another type of
a
species.
species that's
of
freshwater.
Yeah, that's bigger. You know, it could look similar like an oarfish. Because if
Yeah.
there's one thing, is that the ocean's full of animals, and they all kind of will be variations of each
Mhm.
other. But for everything that's big, there's always a bigger version of it.
There's always a bigger fish.
There's always a bigger fish. You need a bigger boat.
2 references in one.
So sea snakes.
Yeah, sea snakes.
Speaking of snakes, I found another snake.
Mhm, Yes, yes.
What's this one?
Tell us about the bull eaters.
Whoa, what?
What? Sounds like you're the only one who knows about
No,
this.
that's just what you call them. You're going to talk about the snake, right? The giant snake that tried to eat the helicopter?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Oh, spoilers!
Oh.
All right. Well, basically, these dudes were doing they were in a helicopter
They're
looking
doing
out.
like reconnaissance, right?
Probably something like that, and they find this green tube laying in the jungle, and they think it's like something to do with the Viet Cong.
Yeah.
But then it turns out it's like 100-foot long snake,
Yeah, man.
and it like rears its head up and is like trying to eat the helicopter.
Dude, that's so crazy. Because if you ever look up like videos of snakes coiling up and striking,
Yeah, they go a long distance.
yeah, just imagine seeing one that's like coming out of the jungle 100 feet tall, and they said that its head was almost like horse-like, so I'm assuming it stuck out more.
Yeah.
And their eyes were like 3 feet wide, like
Jeez.
insane. That's
But you know what's interesting about this? Because I know how it sounds. It sounds crazy that a snake
Yeah.
is that big, but it's actually not the first report I've heard
Of
of a big snake. And the first one I heard of was actually in South America.
Mhm.
I don't know if you've heard of Colonel Percy Fawcett. He went missing down there looking for a city. It was
Montezuma's fabled gold
he
faucet.
called it the Lost City of Z, and Amazon made a movie about it.
Oh, okay,
so-
okay.
But in his reports, because they released all of his reports in one book, which I've read, he reports seeing like a 100-foot long snake.
That's wild,
So,
man.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? It turns out it was just in the foreground the whole time.
Jesus Christ. He's making a reference to that bat picture you showed us.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
There was an ancient snake. There's an extinct genus of snakes from 60 million years ago. Which,
Titanoboa.
Yeah, but those resided in Colombia, apparently.
Yeah.
So nowhere near where this was supposed to be happening. And
There's also Quetzalcoatl.
But that's also in South America.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
that's the god, right?
Yeah, it's a
Of the-
giant winged snake god that was like 100 feet
Dragon, dude.
length. Dragon.
dragon.
Maybe he was on vacation in Vietnam in the 60s.
now, I think what's most interesting about this story is the fact that this man was a photographer.
Yeah.
And he didn't.
Where are the pics?
He had his
Pics or it didn't happen?
Oh, he had
Actually,
his
I
lens
think
cap on.
Well, I thought I did see one on Google, actually.
Yeah?
But I don't know if it was real.
Hold up. Are you gonna?
You gonna look it up?
Yeah, let me look it up.
I mean, the articles that I read said that there were no known photos, so anything that is on the internet might just be like.
Government hid it because
Fake.
they were looking for giant snakes.
But I mentioned.
These are the weapons of mass destruction they're trying to find.
Giant
Giant snakes.
But I mentioned the name bull eaters because after this experience, the photographer would talk to the natives about his encounter.
This one's Photoshop. That's a pretty good picture. It's just someone has a snake with toys around it.
Oh,
That's
that looks pretty
hilarious.
good though.
Yeah, that's pretty dope looking. This.
Oh
picture,
yeah, that's the picture I saw.
It looks like just a picture of a ground with a snake, and it looks pretty big. But you could also take that picture really far away, and it looks like
Yeah,
you're on a
because those don't
mountain
look like
taking a
those don't
picture.
look like trees.
It
They
looks like
look.
a-
I mean,
like
I
a-
don't know.
Like shrubs. or
shrubby
something.
hill.
But
Oh dang! Look at this one. There's the soldiers with a giant
that
it's
doesn't.
python.
Yeah.
It's not 100 feet tall.
No.
But
That's pretty big.
it's a
Snake.
big ass snake, man. I'm not gonna lie.
So he talked to the natives after this experience and found out that there's supposedly ancient snakes wandering the wilderness there, which were called bull eaters because of their ability to kill and swallow full-grown cattle. So that's where that name comes from.
Hey, that's like remember we'll go time travel all the way to episode 1. You talked about Champ in Lake Champlain.
Eating
The 8 horses.
Yeah. Oh man.
What if it was Champ on vacation in the 60s?
Interesting.
he got drafted to go to Nam. Damn, nobody was safe. So we got some snakes.
Mm-hmm.
Other creepy crawly things.
Yeah.
If you're about, are you gonna talk about spiders?
Is this?
We're gonna talk
Okay,
about spiders.
I don't have, the only thing I have in my notes for spiders is the literal word spiders, and it says, my notes, what does it say? Hold on, let me scroll.
This
Gotta
will be
scroll,
our
gotta scroll.
trigger warning moment where it's like we're gonna talk about things with 8 legs.
So
Yeah.
So if you're a little freaked out, skip ahead a couple minutes.
Probably.
I got the spiders note from an article that was just like listing off a whole bunch of things that had been seen. So there wasn't really any details. It just said giant spiders, comma, something else, comma, blah, 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 blah. So I like wrote spiders in my notes and then was going to come back to it. So I saved a space and I wrote spiders, JCIDJVIO. So it was just like a keyboard smash. So I don't have,
I'm going to go back and fix this.
I have nothing on spiders.
Okay. Well, the spiders were kind of like my favorite part because, and it has a little bit of a prelude. Both of my parents are Marine Corps veterans, and growing up, I had a lot of like their friends were Marine Corps veterans, and I remember this one guy specifically told me he was stationed over in Afghanistan for a while, and he told me about the spiders over there, and I didn't find anything about spiders until this actually. Because no one else, he was talking about spiders that were like basically the size of cats. He called them camel spiders, but camel spiders aren't this big.
Yeah.
But he said
the normal camel spiders
Right.
that we know, but
right. He was saying that they, similar to the Mongolian death worm, they would kill a camel and rest in its guts.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So and it wasn't until I researched this and read about their spiders that someone. In one of the articles, they mentioned giant spiders in Afghanistan.
Oh.
So I was like, it's real.
Yeah.
So
It's real.
basically,
It's all real.
we have a 5-man scout team,
Mhm.
and they encountered these huge spiders. The bodies the size of dinner plates, and they're about 20 to 30 inch leg spans, which
Ooh.
is just like ginormous. And they live near water, like creeks and rivers. And they said that they're actually pretty resilient. And if you think of a spider, spiders are pretty resilient already. But one that big, they said they were shooting bullets, and it wasn't puncturing their shells.
It's crazy to think because spiders and most insects, they have exoskeletons. So their bones are on the outside and all their guts are on the inside. And it's one of those things too.
Like most people.
Yeah,
Guts on the inside.
Bones on the outside. Most God-fearing Americans, if you will.
What?
But it's crazy because you could say like, oh man, the weight that it would probably crush in on itself if it was the size of a dinner plate.
You're right.
But then you have things running around crabs.
Yeah.
Crabs that are like king
Yeah,
crabs,
king
which
crabs.
are 3 to 4 feet in length.
Yeah, I saw some freaking huge crabs when
But
I went
on top of it,
to
they
the
have the whole
aquarium.
pressure of the ocean.
Yeah.
On top of them.
And
so,
if you ever seen videos, they move pretty quick on land.
yeah.
So it's crazy to think that. And I mean, if these spiders, if they live by rivers and creeks and stuff, what if they or actually like a type of crab almost,
And they live under.
and then they crawl out and you're like, oh my god, it's a giant spider,
Yeah.
but it could be a crab. But if you shoot, it's just one of those things to where it's pretty wild. It just.
Yeah.
And I picture the giant spiders from Jumanji
Yeah.
when I was reading about these guys. Just
Something on Reddit, I actually found a little bit about this. They said that one of their dads was actually part of this group that saw these spiders, or
Yeah?
a group that saw these spiders, and they said they were able to move up to like 20 miles an hour.
Oh.
And on top of that, if they got close up to you, they would like lean back and hiss at you.
Yeah.
Like hiss. And I'm just like, that's insane.
I believe it, man.
Now I'm all itchy. I feel like I got spiders crawling all over me. Ugh.
Well, that scene from Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
He's like, turn around, and he's got all the spiders on his back.
He's when Doc Ock has Doc spiders on him.
Yeah, it's Doc Ock, yeah.
Oh man, Raiders is so good.
Okay, as far as I think, is that all we're gonna say about spiders?
Yeah, just giant spiders run around. Giant snakes.
Sea serpents, apparently.
Sea serpents. Did you guys get the reptilian people?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I did
Let's
not-
talk about the reptilian people.
You talk
Because
about
I
that.
got some things to
I have
say.
other
Oh,
humanoids
Jess,
too.
Jess
Okay,
was going
okay,
off
all right.
script. Ooh,
Here we
Jess was
go.
riled up.
Reptiles. Let's go.
I'm just...
Lay it down
You-
for us.
So, lizard men in a cave, right?
Yeah.
We got these soldiers. They're out doing their thing, wandering the forest, wandering the jungle, you know, doing war stuff. They come across this cave, and they're like, oh, what's that? And they lean in towards it, and they smell weird things, and they're like, this is weird. This is an interesting stench. Let's not go in. Let's instead plant ourselves outside of the entrance because we're hearing weird noises come from in there, and we don't know what's in the cave. So let's go stand outside and wait. And when these two innocent lizard people emerge from their slumber, come out, stretch their arms, what do the people do?
They greeted them with love and democracy.
No, they
Oh.
freaking shot at them.
Ah, true American.
This is so annoying. Like, and I can talk more about this in a little bit too, because I got one more thing to say about this. I mean, this is what happens in real life. This is what happens in movies when we see something we don't understand or that we're afraid of or looks scary. We decide to shoot it because these lizard people were literally not doing anything when they came out of the cave.
But it ain't natural.
Yeah, so like a rancid stench came from the cave, so the soldiers fell back to stake out the entrance, and in the morning, two of these lizard creatures emerged from the cave making hissing noises. Not at them, just making hissing noises. Probably their yawn or their language or who the freak knows. But the soldiers immediately fired at the creatures, and they escaped without the people seeing where they went. It's assumed they went back into the cave, so for whatever reason, they decided to blow up the entrance to the cave.
Oh, I think I read about that.
Sorry, these levels are probably going to be really
man.
bad. I'm just so annoyed. Like, they went back into their home, so let's blow it up.
We should put a warning before this episode at this point that your microphone might blow up.
It's just so annoying. And who knows how true this story is, whatever. But still, just the concept of, oh, look, we found a cave. These things live in the cave. These things had their morning stretch. Let's blow it up.
Well,
so annoying.
Well, what's crazy too is if this is the same story that I have that you have. So they shot at them. They ran back into the cave. They had like blue blood, like blue syrupy blood that came out.
Yeah.
Oh.
But then shortly after, there was 3 lights in the sky that appeared above the cave, and then it darted off into the night sky.
Aliens?
I feel like
Yeah.
I read something about that, but I think I just got so worked up after they blew up the cave that I just stopped reading.
For
I was
sure.
like, this is dumb.
I want to talk about one thing though, because all of these crazy stories, like you have these people coming home, and like Vietnam was the first like televised war, and so like you have
we lost.
right, and it's like a big anti-veteran sentiment. It's you have stories like Rambo. You know what I mean? Like he's not accepted because he's a veteran. But like you have these people coming back. They've already have PTSD from like killing a bunch of people and the tree speaking Vietnamese. But then you see a lizard person. How are you gonna communicate that to anybody? Like that's just weird. It's just insane.
It's crazy because it's definitely like there should be another Full Metal Jacket
About cryptids?
Yeah.
That would be insane.
I don't know what I've been told. Spiders the size of plates out there.
So these
Sound off.
now that I've gotten my rage out about the story, the lizard people, they walked on 2 feet, humanoid, scaly, shiny, dark black skin. Arms and legs were human-like but scaly and had claws. Very large forward set, snake-like eyes. Apparently they were wearing
I think like rags,
a
right?
green robe.
Oh, okay.
Clothing in the form of a robe. And yeah, that's the lizard people.
It's crazy too because there's like stories and conspiracy theories about like lizard people from the center of the earth that are in our government and they wear skin suits.
That's another episode.
Yeah, that's another episode. But I mean,
and
it's
the
just
lizard people that have a city underneath Los Angeles.
yeah.
What?
Have you heard about that?
No.
That's where Steven Spielberg lives, and he complains about Netflix movies.
That's your next tweet.
I'm revealing the truth. It's all coming together. But yeah, it's so. Let's see. We got snakies, spiders, lizard peoples, big old water serpents.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, anything else?
I have something else crazy. I don't know if you guys got this. It's about giant humanoids.
Giant humanoids?
Yeah, like
Yellow ones?
yeah.
Go
yeah,
for
okay.
it.
All right,
Go for it.
So
let's lay it down.
basically, I have a date for this one as well.
Yeah, I was
This-
gonna say.
December 17th, 1974.
Yeah.
Go for it, Eli.
Yeah, so, real quick.
Oh.
Just I did my research. When I was doing my research, I found these things too.
Mm-hmm.
But before I did my research, I had read this book that I have called Natural or Supernatural, a casebook of true unexplained mysteries. And from what I can tell, from this book is where the stories of the glowing ones come from.
The glowing ones.
Is that the yellow humanoids?
Is that what they're called?
They're
I have no idea. I'll just tell my
They're-
story and then
yeah. Tell the story, and then
the
we'll kind
glowing
of
one.
yeah.
That sounds crazy.
My mic's going crazy.
All right, so I have a platoon of soldiers were on a search and destroy mission, and they made it into a clearing
Mhm.
with like no animals or wildlife,
Yeah.
and like that's pretty weird. You know, you're hiking through the jungle and there's suddenly like nothing going on.
Especially because it's one of those things. Just to kind of add to the atmosphere of Vietnam, it's just nothing but mosquito-infested jungles. There's always rustling. There's always something in the distance going off, exploding. It's just complete chaos.
Right.
And so to go from being highly sensitive to like every noise
Mm-hmm.
to just a clearing where there's nothing.
Nothing.
No bugs, no birds, just silence. Like
Right.
that's wild in the
And
atmosphere of Vietnam.
Right. And then in this clearing of trees, they find piles of dung.
Mm-hmm.
And these soldiers are examining them, and they start hearing something coming from the brush, and these large humanoid creatures come from the trees. They're like roughly 8 feet tall. They have yellowish hair, and they have 3-fingered hands that ended in wicked-looking talons.
Mm-hmm.
Stole that from the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And their faces were flat, and they had large eyes and slits for a nose.
Mm-hmm.
And so these dudes, they started to like walk away, but these creatures started to follow them
Yeah.
until everyone's like panicking and running.
Well, first, the creatures just walked by. Like,
Right.
they paid no attention to the humans. But then when the soldiers started to run is when they started following them.
Oh. I got that as they were walking away, the creatures started following them. They like walking and then matched their pace. But like a little distance away. But so basically they start panicking, they're running back
Right.
to their boat
Mm-hmm.
on the river. These things are chasing after them, and then people shot at them with armor-piercing rounds,
Mhm.
but it didn't do anything to them. And eventually everyone got to the boat, and these apes were just on the edge of the river just staring at them.
Mm-hmm.
Which I just think that's such a scary image.
Yeah.
To like be floating slowly offshore,
And
and you
there's,
just
like-
look back and there's this crowd of like
Yeah, dude.
Humanoid.
That's,
and so from what I can tell, like they actually have a glow to them.
really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
In this book, they actually describe them having a bit of a glow. And what's crazy is what was the name that you had?
they didn't give them a name.
They
They,
didn't
just
no?
called
They
them
didn't.
yellow humanoids.
Oh no, for who the report is from.
I
Oh,
didn't get that.
Okay, because in this book that I have, it's ex-U.S. Marine David E. Gower is the one who reported this to the guy who wrote the book, Martin S. Caden.
Mm.
And so he talks about they're on a search and destroy mission, and so they're going. And what's crazy is they get to the area where it's quiet, and so I'm gonna read a little excerpt because this part's crazy. I motioned to Lance Corporal Terry to move up to scout the area a few hundred meters ahead of us.
Mm-hmm.
Terry had been raised in the back country of northern Georgia, and he was the perfect scout. He could have been an Indian, he was so quiet. I had let him slip up to a tree and swat birds off limbs. They never knew he was coming. Like, this guy's super quick, super silent. Right now, it would be good to know if he could move anywhere and not be detected. We were in the clearing about 20 minutes when I sent Terry ahead of us to scout. He was back in 5. Man, there ain't nothing alive or moving within 30 meters of this damn clearing, he told me. And there ain't no tracks that I can find. No animal trails leading off into the bush. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing a human foot would make. Not a single footprint anywhere. This place is crazy. I asked him, how does this make you feel? Scared.
Whoa.
Basically, this is Predator. With Billy.
Yeah, Billy.
Like, holy crap, man. Like, it's intense. Like, this whole... I definitely recommend checking this book out, because it's like a good chunk of the... at least, like, maybe 15, 20 pages of this guy telling the story of them going to the clearing, them being chased.
When was this book published? How old is it?
This book is 1993. Copyright.
Cool.
Published in Chicago. So, Natural or Supernatural, the casebook of true unexplained mysteries. It's pretty good so far. I've only wrote a few chapters, but I was excited when we were going to talk about Vietnam, because it mentions on the back weird semi-humans impervious to damage in Vietnam.
That's crazy.
And the guy calls them either big yellows, or sometimes they're called glowing ones. And they're like giant, almost kind of like sloth human things. Yeah. Dude, it's intense. And that's the only thing I can find about them online.
Yeah.
Is this guy's story, which is in the book.
Yeah.
Because I looked up like glowing ones, big yellows in Vietnam, and
Well, I don't... Because someone else could have seen them, but then, you know...
like,
gotten
because there was
killed.
a team of like at least 15 people, I want to say.
Yeah.
And like he's the only guy who came forward to tell the story.
Maybe he's the only one who came back.
Oh, no, that's what it is. Did you get this part? The reason why he was saying it, he's the only survivor.
Of the whole...
Of
Of
group.
that event?
Not that event,
Oh,
but when
but
they
like-
got back from Vietnam, a few people died in car crashes, suicide. That's why he's telling the story, because he's the only one who survived.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's what I like about the book, is because it gives you a little bit more than what I could find online, because online was...
Books always do. I've noticed that when researching these things. So I guess we're going to talk about the main event.
Yeah,
Wait.
Ooh.
What main event? The thing
The
you
rock
mentioned.
apes.
Okay, I've got a couple more things
Ooh.
before we get
Whoa!
Edit out that spoiler, don't you know?
there. I'm gonna go over them very briefly.
Yeah.
But they're so interesting that I want to mention them. So we mentioned possible aliens earlier, but I found a story, involving
Indrid Cold?
no, just a blue light.
Ooh.
So, the main witness was in North Country with a Ranger Recon unit. Across from them was an NVA unit on the other hill. I don't know what any of that means. But it was late at night, and they saw a fluorescent blue object come towards them and then stop completely about 1/4 of a mile from them. It moved in closer. This is from 1968, by the way. DMZ Vietnam. So demilitarized
Oh, okay. I think I know what this
zone.
is that you're talking about, yeah.
So this light comes towards them and then stops. And then it moved closer suddenly across from them. And then people opened fire, of course. Machine guns and light weapons. They saw the object seemed to take a lot of hits, but nothing appeared to happen to it. So things were hitting them, but it wasn't affecting it in any way. Then a bright light emitted from the object, and suddenly the machine guns and firearms stopped immediately. And then the next morning, the team went over to the location, and all of the machine guns were melted like butter, and there was no one around. And all they could see were several black patches of ashes. So at the base camp, they wrote a report, and they included photos. And the same day, he never returned to the unit, and when asked about him, they were told that he had been transferred to another unit. So the guy who saw all this and like wanted to report it was transferred and never heard from again.
Whoa.
And then each individual member of the team who had witnessed the like main event, the blue light, they were interviewed by high-ranking military personnel and then threatened with prison if they ever talked about the incident.
Whoa. That's okay, so did you have other stories you wanted to, or is that the...
I have one more thing that's really, it's very simple.
Okay.
But
It's really
so,
very simple.
So she is
Oh, okay.
a
You already know what this is about.
I think so. Yeah.
a bird woman.
The bird woman.
What?
Da Nang.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I read a little bit about this. but-
yeah. I'll let you tell the story,
Well,
Jasmine.
you go right ahead and tell the story,
Okay.
and I'll insert my comments at the end.
Okay.
Okay.
So this story's crazy, and this is really important because it goes back to a couple weeks ago. This
Mothman?
story is famously brought to us by Mr. John Keel.
Oh no.
And I guess he even talked about this in Mothman Prophecies, the book. So I gotta read this book now. But he credits the original source from FSR Case Histories, number 10, June 1972. And it took place in the summer of 1969.
Okay.
Two lower ranking guys in the Marine Corps were sitting on a bunker, kind of on post. And there's a weird glow in the sky above them.
Mhm.
And they're like staring at it. It looks like a big bat in the distance, and it keeps getting closer and closer, and then it's like right above them, at least I want to say 7 feet above their heads, so like real close. And it's a naked lady with wings, and she's sitting there and she's floating, and they're caught off guard. They're blushing a little bit, nervous, all shucks, man, where is your clothes? But yeah, she's got flowing black hair, and her skin's completely black. Like, I'm thinking like night sky black with a greenish glow to it. And she just is floating above them. It's not doing anything. And then she just kind of flies away. And it happened like 3 to 4 minutes. There's not a sound from her. Yeah, it's pretty weird.
Sexism.
Oh?
Did we shoot the flying naked lady? No, we didn't, because she's a beautiful naked lady flying above us, okay?
Wow.
We didn't shoot the naked lady,
Well, yeah.
but we shot the innocent lizard people waking up in the morning.
Hey,
I'm just so annoyed. Like,
I mean-
be consistent, people. If you're gonna shoot things that you don't recognize, then shoot the naked flying lady too. Or, I've got a better idea. Why don't we just not shoot anything that's out in nature, living its life?
I mean, maybe if the lizard people like took the robes off when they came out of the cave, and was like, "Hey, it's up."
It's just
Hey,
so annoying.
Hey, sailors, how you doing?
It's just so annoying. Like, I literally wrote in my notes. Now, somebody tell me why we shoot the innocent gray dude, which we didn't talk about.
Oh, yeah.
Aliens.
Pour one out for the homie.
Why we shoot the innocent gray dude and the lizard people, but we just stare at the naked lady? It's just so annoying.
I mean, that's
Stop shooting things that aren't threatening you. You know what I mean?
well, I don't. Everything. The trees are speaking Vietnamese. You can,
everyone's gangsta till the trees start speaking Vietnamese.
All right.
Oh,
I
man.
think I'm satisfied. We can now talk about
Yeah.
the rock apes,
Ooh,
which is kind
baby.
of the climax of all of the cryptids.
Insanity
Things.
that is Vietnam.
Yeah.
right, the rock apes
God damn.
are the. Okay, can I tell?
Can you pronounce the other? Because I can't.
I
Ooh.
don't know.
Well, we can attempt.
I don't know Oriental languages like that, so I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, I want to as well.
Although I just want to point out, I said Oriental earlier. I'm not being racist. I've been informed somehow that saying Oriental is racist nowadays. So
Because it's a soup flavor of ramen.
is it really?
If you go to you can get the Moroccan instant noodles. There's chicken, beef, and Oriental flavor,
Oh well,
and it's.
I'm sorry.
We're learning. It's okay.
If you have any
Then
complaints,
I
go
Uh,
ahead and email us at cryptidcampfirepodcast@gmail.com.
All right, so I have. Let's see. Whoa, I can't pronounce that. All right.
All right.
It's spelled.
well-
It's spelled NGUOI space RUNG, and it means the
was-
people of the forest.
People of the forest. So wait.
What?
Everyone.
Nagal Rung is how I
Nagal
imagine
Rung.
it said.
Okay.
And that translates to jungle people.
Okay.
It's the people of the forest, man.
Oh.
Jungle people.
what
Or
I
you
got.
could call it bungle in the jungle.
All right. I have soldiers. They're chilling in this resting spot, and I'm picturing like it's like a hill,
Mhm.
and they're looking up at this tree line. Just,
Ooh.
I think that's
What
thunder.
the heck
that a
was
rock?
that?
Is that a rock ape outside?
Was
I
that
think-
thunder?
I think it's thunder.
Feel the thunder.
Shh.
Yeah, that's thunder.
Oh
Ooh.
man!
Oh, the spirits are in bad juju today, man.
Okay.
It's crazy.
So we have these soldiers. They're chilling. They're looking up at these trees, and suddenly, about 15 yards away, that's where the tree line is. There's violent shaking of these trees,
Mm-hmm.
and they get prepped, thinking it's Viet Cong. Obviously, but suddenly a brownish, reddish-haired head pops out of the brush, and it's got a huge mouth and deep-set eyes. And then the creature fully emerges. It's about 5 feet tall, and it's covered in reddish fur, obviously, like I just said. And it's standing on 2 legs, and it just studies them, just looking at them. And then it slinks back into the jungle. And that's, like, the first, like, the scariest one I could find. But the rest, like, get into where they start throwing rocks at people.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Battle of Dong Den.
Yeah, Dong Den, baby.
Right, and so I just know this one part where it's like the captain over the radio heard somebody scream, "We're going hand to hand!"
Yeah.
But I don't know about the rest of Dong Den. Maybe you guys have more.
Yeah. Do you have?
I actually don't. I was very brief with this research because I was, with this specific cryptid because I was so caught up in the shooting of the lizard people. But I will say, just while it looks like you're looking something up real quick, there is a book out there that I wish I could get my hands on. I have a library, but I'm not very confident that the library will have any of these books. But it's called Very Crazy GI, Strange But True Stories of the Vietnam War. It's written by a Vietnam War veteran, Craig P.J. Jorgensen.
Yeah.
That's the book. I don't know if he's the author of the book or the teller of the one story about how he had an actual sighting of one of these creatures. But the book is called Very Crazy GI, Strange But True Stories of the Vietnam War. This book came up a couple of times when I was doing my research. I tried to, do a preview of the book on Google, because you know how you can, read the first 30 pages of stuff, but I couldn't really pick anything out that I wanted to include, so...
Okay.
But that's a book that exists. I feel like it would have been very beneficial to have in this moment, but didn't get my hands on it, so...
Hey, we're working on our research materials. We're slowly but steadily getting away from Google.
Yeah, I tried to go on Reddit and look at some
Reddit's
stuff.
got crazy shit.
That's a dangerous place to be. I was reading some stuff, and then things just got weird, and people were being inappropriate and making jokes, and I was like, what is happening?
Taken by Mothman?
I can't trust anything that Reddit says.
That's crazy, man.
It's raining.
Oh, man.
It's pouring right now. Sorry, guys. We live in LA, and this is
And the old man is
very...
snoring.
Oh, man.
It's very jarring. I mean, that thunder was really loud. It probably didn't pick up on the mics, but it was very loud thunder.
ADR it in
And
later.
now it's pouring out. It's pouring rain outside.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't wear my rain boots. Please don't.
It's like Vietnam out there.
Okay, let's get back to the Battle of Dong Den.
Dong Den, baby. All right. So
We're
here's
going hand to hand.
Yeah. So here's kind of a quick recap from what I can tell of. So it's 1966, and
That was a good year.
very good year. Takes place on a highly strategic location known as Hill 868 in the Quang Nam province, and this is supposedly the site of the battle between Marines and a large group of rock apes. In the account, Marines are operating in the area. Their captain is told there's a report of movement in the brush that they believe to be Viet Cong. So they radio back that should they go, should they not go. They're being told stay in place. Turns out it's a big group of just rock apes milling around. The Marines are commanded not to fire their guns, but throw rocks at them to scare them away. Get the big apes out of the way,
Yeah.
This proves to be unwise, as the rock apes, getting their name, Rock Ape, start throwing rocks back with a great force, hooping and howling and screeching in the jungle. And apparently there's hundreds of them.
Ugh, that's scary.
It's
Planet of
insane.
the Apes,
Just
man.
this hill full of monkeys, these giant apes creatures throwing rocks at you. And despite the attacks of rocks, and the numerous requests to open fire, the Marines are told not to fight, but to use bayonets instead. And then then you hear over the radio screaming, screeching, and then you hear, "We're going hand to hand." Shortly after that, there's just gunfire, screams, screeching. They send men to go check it out, and there's injured men everywhere. but there's no casualties for the Marines. But there's a couple dead bodies of rock apes. And they're just like these giant, like, human-esque apes. They have fur everywhere. It's kind of brown and black fur. They have it everywhere except the soles of their feet, their hands, their faces, and their knees for some reason.
So they're called rock apes because of the stories of them throwing rocks, correct? Because
That-
when I hear
that-
rock ape, I think gray, hard surface,
Like made out of rock?
animal.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
They-
because that's our name for them. That's the
Right.
Marine,
True.
the Army's name for rock apes. In Vietnam, they're called Batututs,
Yes.
Ujits,
Mm-hmm.
or the Nagao Rang, which means jungle people, people of the forest.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, there's a way of life for most people in Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because there's reports from, like, people in Vietnam, like, oh, yeah, no, they live in the forest. Like, just leave them alone. Like, stay away from their land. And, but what's crazy is, so this big battle happens. They're looking at the dead bodies. And Hill 868 is later called Monkey Mountain.
Monkey Mountain?
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
I guess we didn't talk about why it's weird that there's apes in Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah, I guess
officially,
there's no apes.
there's no apes in Vietnam. So the fact that there's a bunch of these reported apes
Mhm.
throwing rocks at people
Yeah.
is pretty strange.
And people say, like, oh, what if it's orangutans? But orangutans aren't anywhere near that part of the world.
Right.
And I guess, like, they're all over Vietnam, Laos, and northern Borneo
Yeah.
in the Viet Cong Nature Reserve.
Mm.
And, what was I going to say? Yeah, there's just different reports of people, like, running, like, seeing them, like, off in the distance,
Mhm.
throwing rocks at them. A full-fledged fight
Yeah.
with these things.
Yeah.
Like, there's a whole lot of reports, but that's definitely, I think, the biggest one. Because all the other ones are like little skirmishes or just seeing one and then people being spooked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, rock apes.
Yeah. That's, yeah.
Uh,
Some scary stuff going down over
dude,
there.
man, it's one thing. It's like, it's crazy to think, like, war gets declared in Vietnam. They open the draft. You're like, all right, you're going overseas. You're going to fight communism, and you get over there and there's just giant snakes and spiders and
Yeah,
rock apes. And you're like, what is happening?
It just sounds like pure insanity.
Yeah.
Everything I hear about Vietnam is just...
And I want there to be a Vietnam movie about soldiers fighting
I thought you were
cryptids.
going to say, I want there to be another Vietnam War. I was going to be like,
Oh.
what is wrong with you?
Let there be a third Indochina War.
No.
Or Resistance War Against America Part 2.
I legitimately
This
thought...
time,
I
we
legit-
got iPhones.
I actually thought you were going to say something like that because you wanted to go over and experience these
God,
things.
no. Heck no. It's one thing to sit in this tiny room with the thunder and lightning outside talking about these things, but
Yep, we
I
talk.
don't want to go.
Nope, we talk the talk, we don't walk the walk.
Yeah,
That's my new catchphrase.
Actually, I want to go squatching, like, really bad.
Yeah, I mean, I want to get some pho in honor of Vietnam.
No, but... Yeah, you're going to move up to San Jose. Let's go
Maybe.
squatching, dude.
Yeah, let's go squatching.
Drop the bomb on the listeners right now.
Yeah. Just let you guys know, I'm looking to move to San Jose in the near future. We will still keep doing the podcast, bringing the Cryptid Campfire to you.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen for like 6 months at least, is what you said, right?
Yeah,
so we
we're
got a
literally
while
starting
before we
the
got
process of looking of
we
moving
got a
up
while to
there.
go before we worry about that.
But we'll, move to San Jose. Have you guys come up. We'll go squatching in the San Jose mountains. It'll be dope.
Yeah.
And San Jose is like haunted. It's
Is
like
it?
crazy haunted. Yeah.
I don't know if I want to mess
Yikes.
with the spirits,
No.
but I'll go hunt for Bigfoot. I don't care.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
mean we had prolific serial killers operating that area.
Yeah.
So
Okay, maybe I'm good. You guys can go do that. You guys can like FaceTime me while you're there.
Yeah.
I'll be there like that.
But you're on that Boo Boo Andrew life, so you can't.
The
face
what?
that. The Boo Boo Andrew life.
Andrew?
Android life.
Oh, I was like, who's Boo Boo Andrew? Is he a new
Is that what I
rapper?
was-
If not, that name's taken.
I can't speak. I'm tired and I'm hungry. Actually, I'm not tired today, but I'm hungry.
You're hangry?
I'm hangry.
Eat a
so...
Snickers.
Do you want some of my quinoa salad?
Hey,
No,
Snickers, if you
fuck.
want to, like, support us. we'll show your Snickers product during the show.
Well, it sounds like we're wrapping things up. Are we
Yeah,
wrapping
I
things up?
I
Get it?
think we're-
Rapper Snickers rapper,
Ooh.
Boo Boo Andrew.
Boo Andrews coming to you straight from Vietnam. This is Live Aid for Rock Apes. Never forget what America did to the Rock Apes.
Kill them all.
Thanks for listening, guys. That
Yeah.
was our overview of cryptids in Vietnam. I hope you found some of that information entertaining.
Yeah, I definitely had a lot of fun researching this. I definitely want to look more into some of the stories. I think I just want to research Vietnam in general.
Yeah.
Because there's wild histories and folklore and stuff in there. But yeah, we hope you really enjoyed the show. My name is Alex Daikaiju. You can reach me at Twitter at Alex Daikaiju. That's Alex Daikaiju. Go ahead and tweet me about cryptids, rock apes, movies. I'm down to chill and talk. And if I want to reach you,
You can follow me on Twitter. I did recently change my username though, so it's just a little bit of it's 3 letters added. So instead of Jasmine May W, it's now just my full name, Jasmine May With, which is now consistent with my Instagram as well. So you can follow me there if you want to. So it's spelled JASMINEMAEWITH, and that is my social media handle.
and what about you, fella?
You can find me at EJ Workshop on Twitter. Send me a pic of a dog or a rock ape or that snake if you find it.
Yeah, let us know if you found us through Twitter on the podcast. Give us a follow. Huh?
Let us know
If
if
you-
you found us
Through our podcast.
through our
on
podcast
Twitter.
on Twitter. You said let us know if you found us on Twitter through the podcast.
I'm going through my head and I don't see anything wrong with that statement. Thank you.
Yeah,
If you found us on Twitter through the podcast, I believe is that the correct way.
I don't even know anymore.
Yeah. Just talk to us on Twitter. Give us a like. Give us a follow. Give Eli some love because I get followers. Jasmine gets followers, but he kind of gets left out in the rain.
Nobody likes me, dog.
We like you. That's why we do the podcast. And we also have Cryptid Campfire on Instagram.
Yes,
You can
follow us.
us.
We're getting followers pretty quick. We're genuinely surprised at how many of maybe the people who follow and comment don't actually listen to the podcast and they're just more there for the images and the facts and stuff like that. But either way, we get a lot of interaction and activity on that
Get
profile.
some good discussions going.
Yeah,
people talking to them amongst themselves about certain things.
Yeah.
So we're on Instagram. Eli is always throwing up cryptid facts. We like to keep you guys entertained. Occasional meme or two. But yeah, so thank you for listening, guys. We hope you had a lot of fun. We'll see you next week for some even more weirder stuff, I'm sure. Thank you for listening, guys. Have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.